All right, hi Girl Scouts. I'm gonna wait just a couple moments for all of you to trickle on. My name is Megan, I'm with the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland, and today we're going to be making a bee hotel. For those of you that haven't had a chance to yet, Box Turtle from our Caitlin Dunbar Nature Center already put up a video that was really informative about a lot of different bees that are native to Maryland and other places, and he also introduced you to the bees that we have at our nature center and how he cares for a hive and how he sets up a new hive. But what we're going to be making today is we're going to be making a bee hotel, which is something that's a little bit more for bees that are solitary bees. So in Box Turtle's video, he tells you about how some bees like to live in hives and live together and work together, but there are plenty of other bee species that are a little bit more solitary, meaning that they kind of live their life on their own instead of in a big hive. And for our bee hotel, we're going to be creating something that's more for those bees that live in solitary. So the materials that we're going to need today, we're going to need an empty soup can. I had soup for lunch yesterday, so I had my can nice and ready. I went ahead and peeled off the label. If your label's a little tricky to peel off, that's okay. We're going to decorate the can, so if your label's kind of pasted on instead of just loosely on, it's okay if you have the label still on. We're also going to need paper straws, which I have right here. If you don't have paper straws, you can still do this activity. You can simply just take paper that you have around the house and make straws out of it, and I'll show us how to do that option as well for those of us that might not have paper straws readily available. We do not want to do this activity with plastic straws because it's harmful to the environment. It's not good for the bees. We're also going to want to get some sticks that are native to our environment. I went after the windstorm, a lot of branches were knocked down with our windy and rainy couple of days this week, and collected myself some sticks. And we're going to go ahead and get going on making our bee hotel. And I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is the one that I've already created. So we're going to fill our can with all of these different paper straws and sticks. So obviously the paper straws, when you get them, depending on the size of your can, are probably going to be a little bit too big. So we can see these are far too tall. So we're going to go ahead and cut them in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to make sure that they aren't too tall for our can. So I simply just went and cut a couple in half all at once. And we're going to then slowly start to fill the inside of our can with all of these straws. And I have some that I already cut in half. Let me go ahead and just show you. We're going to slowly start to fill them in so that they're layering through and filling this can completely. Some of you might be thinking, how are they going to stay in there? We're going to pack them in so tightly so that they're not going to be falling out. So I didn't put any glue or anything in this one that I've created already. We're just going to make sure it's tightly packed, and our sticks are actually going to help us kind of fill any of those holes to make it nice and secure, and it won't need any glue at all inside of here. So as you girls start to fill your can with the straws, you're gonna, start to get a little bit more full, and it's gonna get a little easier the more that we go. For those of you that don't have paper straws at home, what you can do is you can take any type of paper that you have, and I cut mine down into, I kind of folded my paper into quarters so that it's about a little small. It doesn't matter, you can cut your strips of printer paper completely in half, kind of hot dog style, if you'd like, but you can also just simply around a pen or a pencil, wrap it around to then create a straw. And if you're doing this, you're gonna have to just put a small piece of tape to hold it together so it does not come unraveled. For those of you that are just now popping on, my name is Megan. I'm with the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland. We are making a bee hotel today. And so as we're kind of starting to fill our cans with our straws, I'll go ahead and kind of check back for any people that have just popped on. We have just an empty soup can that's already been, I washed mine out, soap and water, so it's nice and clean and dry. We have a empty soup can, paper straws that we're going to start to fill in our soup can with to create homes for these bees. So these are for more solitary bees that don't tend to live in hives, and these also can provide shelter for bees if a sudden rainstorm happens and they're not somewhere that they can stay dry. So what the bees will do is, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. The bees, if it becomes rainy or stormy or something like that, or they are a solitary bee, they will then kind of fly into the holes of the straws to take shelter or to live and make their home. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to fill this. And if you want, so with mine that I did some paper straws and some pieces of paper that I made into straws. You can do both to kind of add a variety of different sizes so that bees of different shapes and sizes can take shelter in your bee hotel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a little bit of both just to show you. Where'd my tape go? The two different ways. And again, if you are using paper straws that you're making on your own, what you can do is, if you want to add a different variety and different shapes and sizes for it, just like mine does here, I have big straws and small straws. You can use different size pens, markers to kind of create different sizes for the bees. It is really important that we try and protect the bees. I know they can be kind of scary if you're outside playing and a bee lands on you, but bees are really, really important for our environment. They are pollinators. They take the pollen on their feet when they land on a plant from one plant to another and helps spread that pollen and keep all of the things in our environment growing. And it's just really important that we keep them safe. They are, the population is getting smaller and smaller, and we want to make sure that the ones that we have around are here to stay and they stay nice and healthy. So even though it might be scary and we might want to smack a bee away when we have one lands on us, you want to go ahead and try and protect them and let them fly away on their own. Let's see, I have a question. Should we leave one end of the can sealed or use a can opener? So I have one end is completely sealed and the other is open, so that they can kind of fly in, and that's the door that they'll be going in and out of. So I'll show you on my completed one. I have just them filling on one side and it's closed on the other side. It's a really good question. As we're kind of coming in, I love to hear where everybody is watching from. So let me know what grade level you're in, what Girl Scout level you are, and where you're watching from. And if you have not already, after this, Box Turtle from our Caitlin Dunbar Nature Center and our ranger, he tells you all about bees, and he shows you some of the bees that we have, and he actually sets up one of our beehives. He got a new set of bees that he set up a new hive, and he shows you our queen bee and everything like that. It's really neat to watch. I had a really good time watching that, and you can go ahead and check that out once we're done with our bee hotels. So I'm filling mine with both the straws that I'm cutting in half as well as paper straws that I'm creating. I'm going to create a couple more paper straws so that I have a variety of different shapes and sizes for our bees. Looks like we have somebody watching from Florida, Missouri. Oh my goodness, all over the place. I love it. We're here, I'm in Baltimore, sticking it out. But yeah. Okay, but I love that we see that there are Girl Scouts from all over the country. And I've had a couple of videos where I've seen Girl Scouts from all over the world watching. And I think that's wonderful that we're all coming together for this and doing all these fun activities together. This activity is something that you can do no matter what level Girl Scout you are, Daisy to Ambassador, or even adults. I honestly had a lot of fun creating these, and I'm looking forward to putting them outside. And once we get done with mine here, I'll explain to you where we want to put this once we go put it outside. Awesome. We have Daisy from Troop 2237 from Towson, not too far from me. Wonderful. Oh my goodness, New Jersey, Connecticut. I love it. So I'm gonna keep on going with our different straws. Use both a mixture of paper straws and regular straws. I have somebody knocking at my door. Looks like a package. Sorry about that. All right. So once it starts to get a little bit more full, you can see how it's still super wiggly. There's still a lot of space that I can fill. We want our straws to be nice and tightly packed, and what we can start to do once it gets kind of full like this, we can take the sticks that we found in our yard, and we can then kind of break them and to sizes that will fit, and they're going to help kind of fill the space of our bee hotel that we're creating right here. Another type of bee hotel, if you have the materials to do so, if you have an old empty or not an old kind of stump or something like that, that a parent can help kind of cut so that we have a log, and you can then drill holes into it of varying sizes, and that creates a different type of bee hotel for more carpenter bees and bees that like to burrow into wood. So we're gonna continue to fill this, and the sticks just help fill the space and also kind of make it a little bit more natural for the bees. A lot of bees really are attracted to wood, and they like to make their homes in wood. If you're somewhere with bamboo or any other type of hollow stick or hollow plant, you can go ahead and use those as well. And as I'm doing this, it's starting to get a little bit more sturdy. I still have a couple straws that are falling out, but we're going to want to make it nice and tight and secure. It's a little tall. And I'm just using sticks of different sizes, breaking them into the right size that I'll need, and I'll also keep filling it with straws until it is nice and tightly packed. So just going to keep on filling it, because we don't want this to become really loose. If it is loose, when the bees are in there, it's going to move around, and they're not going to feel safe if all of these straws are kind of wiggling around. We want that to be nice and secure and tight, and not wiggling around and not feeling like little earthquakes for the bees. We don't want that. All right, so as you're going, you're going to see that it's going to start to be nice and compact, nice and tight. You can see that as I'm shaking it, nothing's falling out. There might be a couple spaces that I might still kind of see, and I might try and fill them. We want it to be as tightly packed in there as possible, but we don't want our straws to kind of compress down on each other. We don't want our straws to be squished. We want them to be nice and open so that bees can fly in and live in there. So as we go through and do that, again, as I said, you can use paper straws that you purchase at the store, as well as paper that you can roll and create into a straw for this. It does not matter, whatever resources that you have, but the most important thing is that we don't use plastic. Plastic is not great for bees, and if water does get in the plastic, it kind of fosters mildew and mold, and it's not healthy for the bees. So once you're done filling everything in here, we can go ahead and we can paint our can. Bees are attracted to flowers, and we want them to be bright kind of colors so that the bee will be attracted to it, and it'll want it to be its home. So I have a question that says, what if the wind blows it? So when you go to find somewhere to put it at your home, you're going to want to put it somewhere, and you're going to want to do whatever it needs to do to be held nice and secure in a tight space. So you can use string to kind of rope it around somewhere and tie it nice and secure so that it's not going to be wiggling around in the wind. Right now I just tied 2 pieces of string around it. We don't want it to wiggle like that. When we attach it, I'll kind of show you, let's show you on the back of my chair. So if I was to attach it to the back of my chair, I don't want it kind of hanging right here so that it's wiggling. I would want to wrap it around and around until it is nice and tight and secure and not going to be wiggling anywhere. Also, when we go to put this outside, we're going to want to find somewhere that is a little bit sheltered from the rain. You can also, if you have the tools and materials to do so, you can get cut down pieces of wood to create an A-frame over top of it to kind of shelter it from that rain. I personally don't have the resources at my house right now to do that, so I can't do that. So when I do this, I'm going to want to find somewhere that's sheltered from the rain, but also sees a lot of sunlight. Bees really like the sun. and they like things to be nice and warm in the sunlight. So when I find somewhere to place this at my house, I'm going to make sure that it sees a lot of sun hitting these straws during the day. So for this one, once we're finished, once you've put all of the straws and all of the pieces of sticks that you found in your yard and it's nice and secure, nothing's going to fall out of this. We can go ahead and we can paint it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint mine. I'm going to do blue and yellow, I think. Want it to be nice and brightly colored so that the bees are attracted to it and they find it for its home. So I'm going to do blue and yellow and simply just paint it. I find that acrylic paint works the best on a tin can. It shows up and it doesn't get, it's nice and vibrant, so you can see how brightly colorful it is. Right. It might take a couple coats of paint and it won't be ready to be put outside yet if you are painting it, because it'll need some time to dry, but I will go ahead and just simply paint mine. I'm going to do blue and yellow. Make it nice and vibrant. If you have somewhere in your house that you could maybe try and drill your can into, or kind of create a ledge for it to sit on that it holds nice and tight, you can do that. For anybody that is coming in, we're making, somebody's asking what the materials are. We're gonna need an empty soup can, only open on one side, closed on the other side. Paper straws, never plastic straws, either paper straws that you purchase at the store, or you can make your own paper straws by cutting up printer paper and rolling it around a marker or a pen and taping it shut to create your own paper straws. We're gonna need some just sticks found in our yard, and paint if you would like to paint your can, and depending on where you're gonna put this in your yard, you're gonna want string or yarn or something to hold it nice and secure outside. So I'm just going around and painting mine so that it's nice and bright. I painted my first one like a bumblebee, but this one I want to do kind of blue and yellow, nice and bright, and some good fun spring colors. All right. And again, when we put these outside, we want it to be somewhere that sees plenty of sunlight, but is also protected from the from any rain. And if you do have tools and wood that you can use, you can create, put this down, create something that creates an A-frame over top that kind of shelters the front of your bee home. Personally, I don't have the materials and resources to do that, but if you do, that's something that you can do. You can cut 2 pieces of wood and create an A-frame over top to protect the insides of it from getting wet from the rain. Any color paint will work, just bright colors bees are attracted to. So if you have a good bright green, you can do that, or just whatever you like. But bees are attracted to flowers and bright colors, so we want it to be something that is attractive for the bees so that they want to come and make that their home. We want them to feel comfortable and safe when they do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint mine. Kind of blue and yellow, mixing them in the middle to make green. And if you want, you can too, once you're done with this, you can take Sharpies or other paint to decorate it, maybe, you know, write on it, "My Bee Home" or something like that. Make it your own, make it special for you, and then you can find somewhere out in your yard that is nice and safe for the bees to make their home in. And then eventually you'll start to see bees, maybe sooner than later. It is starting to become time that the bees are out a little bit more. It's getting a little bit warmer, and it's becoming time for the bees. So one of the ways that you could protect it from rain, you can put it somewhere in your home that is already kind of sheltered. I have, on my back porch, I have a covering, but it also sees plenty of light, so I could put it underneath that and attach it to something like a tree or a branch or a railing or a fence or something like that. If you don't have somewhere like that, you could create something to keep it shelter from the rain, you could create an A-frame out of 2 pieces of wood, nail it together, glue it together, and then kind of create an A-frame, and awkwardly do it with my hands, over top the front end so that it is lit, kind of hanging over the front of the house. Kind of like a birdhouse, I see. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish painting mine. Again, you can paint it however you like, whatever makes you happy. I decided to do kind of yellow and blue and mix it to make some green on the inside. However you like to paint it. My first one I painted to look like a bee. And once yours is finished and once it's dry, the most important thing is that when we do attach it to something outside, we don't want to have it hanging from a branch because it's going to be blowing in the wind, and the bees aren't going to feel safe if they are in their home when it's blowing in the wind and kind of going crazy like that. If you're going to attach it somewhere, you're going to want to make sure that it's nice and tight and secure so that it's not going to be wiggling around anywhere. You want it to stay nice and sturdy and safe. You could attach it to a fence or a tree branch that's covered by, maybe like I have a tree that kind of grows underneath my porch. I could attach it there. I could attach it to a railing. We just want to make sure it's somewhere that is safe, and the bees want to be comfortable. They don't want to be going on a roller coaster ride while they're sleeping at night. But once you're done, I can't wait to see if you could show me once you're finished and it's all painted out in the comments where you've placed your bee homes, and maybe if anybody sees any bees coming into it. But yeah, so once we're finished, I'll show you mine. It's a little wet, but I've painted my can. It's nice and full with the different varieties of straws, as well as some sticks to kind of fill in that space. It's nice and tight, and remember, we didn't use any glue to hold this in there. All of these straws are staying nicely packed and tight in there. As the seasons go on, every once in a while you're going to want to check your bee hotel. You might need to, depending on if there's a really stormy day and it starts raining sideways and water gets into there, you might want to then replace those straws. You want to make sure that they're not getting wet or mushy or anything like that, and nice and safe and healthy for the bees. But other than that, happy beekeeping, and hopefully you ladies will start to see some bees living in your bee hotel sometime soon. And I look forward to seeing what you've created. All right, bye.